warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am glad that we are willed by Allah to be together in this situation. I am Mariam. I'm a Filipina. I was born in the Philippines, but I'm living in the UAE or in United Arab Emirates for about 23 years. I became Muslim 36 years ago. Alhamdulillah, and I'm 56 years old now. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. And by the mercy of Allah, Alhamdulillah, all my family became Muslim, all together in 30 years after I learned. So it's the great thing that I have really to thank Allah, and I really don't know how to thank Allah. That's why this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to share whatever I have learned so others also will benefit. Because we must love each other for the sake of Allah. We will not love our husband, or will not love, as a husband love the wife only for dunya, for this life, like because she's beautiful, or he has money, or anything. We must love for the sake of Allah. If you are loving for the sake of Allah, then you will be patient, you will be understanding, and you will solve the problem in good way, in good dealings, okay? So let us start, inshallah. I'll be giving you information, inshallah it will help us. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله على سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت يا حي يا قيوم تجعل الهزن إذا شئت سهلا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم اشرح صدورنا ويسر أمورنا وبلغنا مما يرضيك آمالنا واطرد الشيطان من بيننا واختم بالباقيات الصالحات أعمالنا أما بعد فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم طلب العلم فريدة على كل مسلم والمسلمات. What is the meaning of that? Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم said, the personal obligatory knowledge in the religion is an obligation for every Muslim. This is the way of life to live. Okay? And he also said, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إنما الآمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى. When we are doing the good deeds, and this is one of the best deeds that we can do in this life, to sit together, to gather together, to talk about Islam, to talk about the rule of God, to talk about what Prophet Muhammad and the rest of the Prophets have been guiding us. And this is the good way of gathering together. In this kind of sitting, if you are 2 or 3 or 4 or any number, in the place where the lesson or the lectures or about talking about Islam, talking about Allah or the religion is going on, angels are around us. And may Allah bless us by the dua of those angels that are all around us. There is something very important that we have to discuss first, okay? Because marriage is a blessing from Allah. Thank God that you guys, you people are trying to get married. There are so many relationships without marriage, unfortunately. So we don't want to be engaged in something that will be sinful and we will be punished in the hereafter. Love is to care for each other. But we have to understand really what is the meaning of love. Love is not loving just because we need each other or we want from each other something. Loving is a special feeling that is coming from the heart. We don't love coming from here and from mouth. It is coming from the heart. So the first thing that we need to use our love, the real love, the sincere love, sincerity is to love Allah. But being we are creations, that we are created creations to worship Allah, we need to know how to love Allah the right way. If you know how to surrender to Allah, if you know how to love Allah, and then in this way, and you learn His rules as Prophet Muhammad guided us, you will be knowing how to love yourself and to love others the right way. Because if you fear Allah, you will fear to harm yourself and go to hell or lead someone to go to hell. We want to go to paradise. It's not just heaven. Heaven is a 7 level. We have 7 levels of heaven. And the distance of between heavens is like this ground and below the first heaven. We have 7. Up the 7 heavens above is paradise. This is where we want to reach. Okay? And we have 7 earth. This is the first earth. 7 levels of earth. Below the earth, the 7th earth is hell. We don't want to go there. Okay? Now, the most important, how can a person who is born Muslim or converted to Islam will be a true Muslim? This is the first issue. Okay? Marriage is marriage. There are people might be marrying because a man or a woman been intending to marry so they become Muslim. Okay? It could not be in that way. We have to become Muslim because we want to worship Allah and follow His rules, so we want to marry. But you cannot be, maybe the way to see Islam or to find the correct belief is to find some way, somehow, to read and find Islam in any reason. It's not wrong if you will find the right person to give you information, because becoming a Muslim is not just to say, I believe no one is God but Allah and Muhammad is a messenger of Allah, if they don't know who is Allah. You will find some Muslims, unfortunately, they were born Muslims, but they were not learning, and when you ask them who is Allah, God. Who is God? Allah. Period. We need to know who is Allah. Because Allah around the earth, many people are saying, because even the non-Muslim Arab, they say Allah. But there is meaning. When we say Allah, and people say God, or people say Lord, or people, whatever they said, when they address that to God, it has to be the proper address of the attributes that befits Allah. Correct? Because we cannot give attributes to Allah that does not befit Him. Otherwise, you will not be Muslim. And we knew very well that Allah knows, and Allah said that not everyone who were born Muslims will die a Muslim. And not everyone who were born a non-Muslim will die a non-Muslim. We are created to worship, so we should know how we will worship. Allah sent us how many prophets and messengers? Allah sent 124,000 prophets. From Sayyidina Adam ila Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. But among the 124,000 prophets, we have 313 messengers. Now you'll be wondering, what is that? We call Prophet Muhammad as a prophet and messenger. What is the difference between the prophet and the messengers? When we say prophet, of course they are the slaves of God that has been sent to us to distribute the knowledge or to guide us, to give us the knowledge that Allah revealed to the messenger. The prophet is the one who come after the last one from Sayyidina Adam. It come another one in every time, in different time, different nations. The prophet is the one who who come after the last one, having the same rules of the last. He continued by this generation. How long, how far, Allahu Alam, because we were not there before. But the messenger is also a prophet. The messenger is a prophet who follow the last one, having some new rules. Like Sayyidina Adam, he has received the new, fresh rules. So he's a prophet and messenger. Or a prophet that comes after the last one, having some new rules, or had changed some rules of the last, or had added new rules. Okay, but we have to understand that all of those prophets and messengers, there is no changes and there is no differences when it comes to believing Allah. What is changing about the rule that Allah knows best? What is the necessity or what is the need of the people of those different times? The example of the rules is, for example, in the time of Sayyidina Isa or Sayyidina Jesus, the order in his time, in his nation, is 2 times prayer in a day. And in our time, in time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we had 5 times a day. In the time of Sayyidina Isa, if you have the najasa in your clothes, okay, you cut. Now we wash, we can use it again. We wash. They're different, okay? In the time of Sayyidina Adam, the brother and sister can marry, because there was no other people. Eve, Sayyidati Hawa, or Eve or Eva, she delivered 40 times delivery of twins. Boys and girls. But at that time, it's allowed to marry the brother to the sister, but not in the same delivery. There is one among them who became a prophet, and he has no partner. He is no twin. Anyway, some just information. Anyway, the most important in in this sitting, inshallah ta'ala, that hopefully will benefit, is to give you the attributes of Allah, okay? And to give you, if there is time, about what is making a Muslim out of Islam. So we can avoid it. Haram, if you don't know it, I don't say leave it, don't learn it. But there's something that if you became out of Islam unknowingly, it's not an excuse. Because it's not excuse to be ignorant in the religion of Islam, especially those that make them out of Islam. That's why Allah sent prophets and messengers to teach us. But it is from our own intention. If you would like to learn, then you'll be searching. As Prophet Muhammad said, if you don't know anything, مَنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ يَعْلَمُ ذَا فَلْيَسْأَلْ. If you don't know anything, then ask. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَجِدْ مُعَلِّمًا فَلْيَرْحَلْ. If you don't find anyone to teach in your place, in your area, you try to search, you don't find them, travel. You are traveling for money, traveling for honeymoon, traveling for, even some people, they got money. The first thing that they're supposed to do is to do their Hajj as an obligation, but yet they go to America, they go to pleasure. Do your obligations first, if you get a chance to have the money, for the sake of Allah. Anyway, because the one who got the chance to get the money to go to Hajj, and they use it for other things, they don't give priority to go to Hajj, they will be accountable. Because anyone who doesn't have the money, even if it is an obligation, you will not be obliged to do something to make money and take money from riba with interest. You are excused. So any obligations that you are not capable of, God is forgiving, God is merciful. Okay, so now let us talk about, look, this is, Allah said in the Quran, in Surah Mujadilah, Ayah 11, which means Allah raises the ranks of those amongst you who believe and acquire the knowledge. Knowledge in Islam is not any knowledge per se. How much time we exert effort, for example, if you have money, you'll be trying to find the best school for any worldly education, matters, like to be a doctor, to be a nurse. If you have money, if you're rich, you'll find something best, okay? But if you are a doctor, you are a nurse, maybe sometimes so many of them, like this time, I found out that so many educated ones, but they don't have a job. Sometimes you find those who don't have education, they have a good job by experience, because they go anywhere just to make money, and then they get experience, they develop, and they become someone after. But because you are educated, you spend a lot of money. They said you burn your eyebrows to study and educate and effort, so you will not get anything just. Okay, and this is the logic that is going on now with the people. When they are educated, they don't want to get less. But it's not. It's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you become a doctor, a nurse, or you are married, or anything you have wealth, you have money, you have children, you have everything that you want in this life. Allah granted you. Allah is the sustainer. And you die. Would you be a doctor in the grave? Would you be a nurse in the grave? Would you be an engineer? Would you make money with your education? What you can bring in the hereafter when you die? In the grave, first in the grave. Before we enter wherever, may Allah protect us from hell. Okay? What we will bring is what our education is in Islam had made us in this life. Because if you learn, then you will know what to do. You cannot ignore things that you know. You know it is haram. Even sometimes some people engage in haram, they cannot control, they are tempted, but you know there is a feeling of guilt. There is difference of something you're doing something that you don't know the result of it. At least if you know, if you make mistake, you have awareness that you make mistake, then you have a chance to ask forgiveness. It's not just like walking and you see it's haram. We need to know when we can get rewarded, when we can be sinful so we can avoid it, when we can get rewarded so we can do it. But the most important thing now is not just the reward and to avoid the sins, but we want to be saved from becoming out of Islam. So we need to know first who is Allah. First, we need to know the Shahadatain, the meaning of Shahadatain. And so many people, even I met Muslims, they say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. They don't know the meaning exactly. When we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, it means that I know, meaning you understand, you know, you heard, you learned, and I believe in my heart, And I declare by my tongue that there is no one deserves to be worshipped but Allah, the Creator. Now, we say Allah. What is the meaning of Allah? The non-believers, they said, I believe in God. The Muslim says, we believe in God. When we say Allah, we mean God, Lord, Creator. And Muhammad, you have to make sure that you are calling God by the name, by the perfect name that befits Him. We don't give Him attributes or names that does not befit Him. That's very important for Muslims. Now, all the so-called religions we're saying, because we cannot believe there's other religion other than Islam. Any religions that comes up after Sayyidina Adam, and some people say this is Christian, born again, El Shaddai, whatever is that, it is not a religion that we can believe as Muslims. We say those are so-called religion. They call it religion. We don't call it religion. When Prophet Muhammad, in the what did Ayatul Kursi? Lakum dinukum waliyadin aka fi Surah Al-Kafirun. When Prophet Muhammad said, Lakum dinukum waliyadin, it doesn't mean that you have religion, that you follow. That Prophet Muhammad is not not agreeing with that. But when he say, Lakum dinukum batil, lakum dinukum invalid, and waliyadin haq. You have the religion that you call it religion, it's not valid. And I have the religion that is valid. So I am a believer. This is what it means. Because some people, they used to give meaning in a different way. They said, oh, Prophet Muhammad said, because some Christians and some ignorant Muslims, they were agreeing with that. Don't force them. It's not forcing. It is the way of informing. But we have to force. If you can force your son, your daughter, or anyone, or you are employee, to do something because you're paying them, we have to force someone to worship Allah, because this is what He ordered. And He owned all of them, and He owned us. This is what we mean. But forcing is not by force to put like this here, and I will kill you if you don't become Muslim. It's not the way. Of course, we will educate. But if you don't know anything, how you educate? That's why we need to know, so we will know what we are supposed to say. Okay, so we try to encourage them to know Islam, and unfortunately nowadays, because most of the Muslims are ignorant, they are not even encouraged to become Muslim because of the behavior of Muslims. You will find some Muslims, they said, oh, the Muslims themselves, I'm experiencing in UAE, we're saying non-Muslim is better than you. Sometimes, for example, with the rent, with money, with deals with money, they say, non-Muslim is better than you, they pay on time, and you Muslim don't pay on time. They don't care about the money. They can take money in any way because they don't want to be embarrassed. They take haram, they take in any way, they steal it, they don't care because they don't want to be embarrassed. Money is not easy for us because we don't want to do things and take money in haram. Right? So I will fear you, or I will fear my Allah. Because everything is by the mercy of Allah. And we are in this life are on test. The money, the things are not easy for us Muslims because we are under test. You have to worship Allah without condition. You don't say, oh, I worship Allah, I will pray to Allah if I have money, if I get married, if I get this one, I get this one. Of course, you are worshiping because you want to go to paradise. Because anything in this life will be left behind. Even the loved ones, your husband, your wife, that you don't want to leave, if you die, you'll be away from her, you will not be in the same grave. Okay? We want to see each other in paradise. So Mary, okay, I will tell you about that. Allah, I will tell you about the attributes of Allah. Allah is one. We have to believe that He exists. These attributes of Allah. It was mentioned in the Quran, the 13 attributes of Allah that we have to know. It was repeatedly mentioned in the Quran. It is not only 13. The attributes of Allah are uncountable. But there are 13 attributes of Allah that has been mentioned repeatedly in the Quran, and it is an obligation for every Muslim to know. So we will not be misled in our belief. Because we see things, we saw good non-believers, and can you imagine some Muslims are converting to Christianity because they like their character, their behavior, their Allahu Akbar. The believers, no matter how bad, I don't say and I don't encourage you to do wrong, but when we are talking about the non-believers and the believers, when the non-Muslim are saying, in you, I don't want to be Muslim because if I do sins, if I drink wine, it's not allowed. If I do zina or adultery, it's not allowed. these all things are not allowed to everyone, not only to Muslims. That the Muslims, if they follow, they benefit. The non-Muslim, if they follow, they don't benefit because they are not believers. They have to be a believer first. So the Muslims, if we do wrong thing, because we are all doing wrong things, we are all created weak. Okay? If we make sins, if we ask forgiveness with sincerity, you will be forgiven. But if someone is an unbeliever, you do a lot of good deeds, that actions will only be in this life. They benefit between each other. You help the other. You see that the character of the non-Muslim, because I came from that time, okay? When someone gives, you want to give more. Just because of, to please the other. To make sure that I am better, I'm more, I have more, and, To Muslims, when we do something, you have to do it in your heart, from your heart. Not to do it to show, because you will not be rewarded. Okay? If you give, if you help, it is for the sake of Allah. If one day you are in need of help, and she did not help you, you will not say, that time I helped you, don't help me now, you embarrass him. Then your reward that has been written 20 years ago is cancelled. This is the way the Muslim should be. But we are mostly having character of the non-believers. Why? Because not learning. We don't know the way, we don't know how to get rewarded. We don't know to benefit the short life that we have. That if you just realize and think, this short life, how many years you'll be living compared to no ending? Be patient. Okay? Patient to do the obligations to Allah, don't be lazy, learn about it. Patient to face the whatever afflicted you. Okay? Be patient, say, ask Allah's help, so you'll be rewarded and granted of, even if you don't get what you want, you'll be relieved, you'll be having the relief. And patient to avoid sins. Is 3 patience that we need. Okay? So, we are saying about the attributes of Allah. The first, we have to believe that Allah exists. Allah said in the Quran, Afillahi shak. There is no doubt in the existence of Allah. And if you say Allah to make it easy for people to understand, even Muslims who didn't learn, when we say Allah, don't just say God. Because the others say God. When we say Allah, we mean creator. What is meant by creator? It is a unique power that no one has. Creator means the one who has the power to create. And creating is the power to bring something from non-existence into existence. Who has the power to bring from non-existence? We fix something from what God created. Right? So that is very great proof. So all the things that we are seeing in this life and not seeing, like the air you don't see but you need it as how to breathe, how you can breathe, you need these things, but you don't see it, you cannot even draw it. It's created by God. All of those are proof that Allah exists because there are creations. There could be a simple example. There will be no painting without a painter. There will be no writing without a writer. There will be no building without a builder. How about the big, huge creations that you cannot even go all around, or creations of Allah in this life? There is a creator. And it's impossible to have more than one creator. The one who decides in this big earth, big world, it's impossible to be more than one. Because, as a simple example, if there are 2 gods, and one wants night and the other wants day, can it be coming together, night and day at the same time? So it has to be one thing to happen. Even in one small office, if you have 2 bosses, it will not work well. Right? You don't know who to follow. Okay? Now, the second thing we have to believe that Allah is one. Oneness of Allah, al-wahidaniyah. Allah said in the Quran,